about pro AV with the hottest news in the AV industry. It's rAVe TV. Give it up for Steph and Gary. Steph and Gary.
Hey, Steph, how are you?
Good, Gary. How are you?
Doing well. We are in the middle of launch week 5, but we still have to do rAVe TV, our weekly live TV show that we do on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. We also do it on Twitter, and we bring it to you live on ravepubs.com. It's been a great launch week so far. We finished UCC Day yesterday. We're in the middle of DSE, or DS Day, Digital Signage Day, and we, in fact, just did a DSE panel led by David Drain, and I helped introduce a new set of projectors. Epson used Launch Week 5 to introduce a new set of projectors that are both for corporate as well as for digital signage. Steph, did you have a chance to check that out?
I did. It was very cool.
We got a lot of stuff going on. So what's going on in your world? How are you doing?
It's been a great week so far. Yesterday was a very full afternoon of me being around and being like online and being live. So that's always fun. But yeah, I'm excited to just continue with the week. I think it's been really great. I think it's been really informational, and I think it's been fun.
Good. And it is a busy week for all of us, and we're doing the best we can here. We are actually producing this live. I'm coming to you live from, we're both in Chapel Hill, actually. I'm in my office on campus at UNC. You're in, by the way, I don't know if you're in our office in the studio. I don't know if you saw, but the Orange County where we are located and the campus at UNC, we're no longer going to have to wear masks starting Monday afternoon at 5 p.m. So I'm excited about that we don't have to be masked, Steph.
That's kind of crazy. I don't know. I think like after wearing them for so long, I think it's always kind of like jarring to not have to. Or if like, I know Raleigh got rid of it, and I was in Raleigh the other day and I was at a restaurant and I like looked around and like the wait staff wasn't wearing masks, and I was kind of like I don't know if you're just kind of like very jolted to look around and see people's entire faces.
Well, I'll be fine wearing masks on airplanes, but I'm tired of teaching wearing a mask for 2 hours, and I'm tired of walking around with a mask when I feel like I don't need it anymore.
I get that.
I'm excited that we're going to sort of get out of this, but a lot of stuff going on. I know that Megan told you about a new show called The After Party, where there's an AV person in the show.
Yeah, isn't that cool? So the after party is on Apple TV Plus, which I don't have, because I have every other like app that there is, like every other streaming app. So I was trying to be like, maybe I shouldn't pay for like another one because I've got all the rest of them. But now I'm like, well, there's an AV integrator in a popular TV show. Like, that's so cool. So I don't know. That might like make me want.
So he's a character? Are you saying he's a character in the show?
Yeah, so he's a character in the show, and Megan's friend told there's also apparently like an AV subplot, but it's like a murder mystery like Clue, like whodunit show that's with all comedians. It's supposed to be super funny. So I had Madeline like download the preview to show us really quick.
Oh, okay, let's run the trailer.
Yeah.
Then.
Nothing can ruin this night.
We're gonna live forever.
Any one of you could be the murderer.
Timber!
Can we all just agree that it's clear that Anik killed him?
Oh my God, no, I didn't.
I'm guessing you're Anik.
She's good.
You know, it's a great way to deflect being a murderer is to accuse everybody else of murder.
I'm with child.
That makes sense. You kill someone and birth a new one in. The number stays the same.
Hit it!
How did this all go so wrong?
I need my popcorn.
Oh, you actually have popcorn.
Sure, Madeline. All right. So apparently you met this guy. You met somebody in
No. We didn't meet him, but we were like, so as you know, when we were in New York in January, it was Madeline and Ethan's first time like in that part of the city. So we went to an Italian restaurant that I like knew was kind of a cool neighborhood, and there were a lot of like actors and actresses and like famous people who would hang out there. And so we go and we sit down and like we see like an actress from SNL, Adie Bryant, and then we see her sitting with this guy, and apparently that guy is in this show. So it's really funny. So it's just, you never know what you'll see in New York, and you never know when AV will come up in a popular TV show. It's just one of those things.
Well, it's nice that, you know, the longer I've been in the industry, the easier it has been to explain what I do for a living for my friends that have no idea what I do for a living. It used to be that it would take a couple of minutes to explain somebody at a party, and I started giving up for a while.
Yeah.
But now I can like reference little things, right? I can, there's little things I can say, that thing, and they'll be like, oh, okay, you do that. And then when Zoom came along during the pandemic, I was like, okay, that's our market. That came from us.
Yeah.
So and they're like, oh, okay, now I know what you do. So you make Zoom stuff? And I'm like, no, not exactly.
We just write it. I write about it. Yeah. Like that's normally what that's normally what I say to people. I'm like, I like just start naming technology. I'm like projectors, digital. I just start naming things, and they're like, you make that? I'm like, I write about it as it comes out and why it's new and why it's cool. And they're like, okay.
Well, speaking of writing about it, by the way, this is Gary Kay. That's Steph Beckett. We're coming to you live as we do every Wednesday at noon. We do a live TV show just talking about AV stuff.
Yep.
But speaking about writing about it, we launched a brand new publication, and it is the most forward-thinking publication in the industry. It's called Launch Code, and it is exclusively about emerging technologies like XR, VR, AR, and the metaverse. That's all it's about. We've got articles going, although we launched it Monday, we have articles going all the way back from October. We've been building this publication now for almost 5 months. And we have a bunch of content on there all about our industry and how we're playing in AR, VR, XR. We even have some VR tour stuff. It is a future forward thinking publication, and we're excited about it. It is was something that it's a passion project of mine, and I know you're excited about it, Steph. And it's all called Launch Code. It's all part of our launch platform.
Yep. And so I've gotten a few questions about what's the difference between Launch Code and rAVe Pubs. And so rAVe Pubs, as everyone knows, is kind of going to be what it's always been. Like, we are the number one news source of the industry. This is things that integrators are focusing on right now, but Megan is really focused on emerging markets you haven't even thought of trying to integrate yourselves into and trying to make work for your business. So she's going to be really, really forward thinking, whereas my stuff is going to be more like, let's focus on the now, and hers is more like the future, I guess. So,
and some of the stuff that she's writing about the future will become part of rAVe Pubs because it'll become part of the now. Like XR is a good example of that. XR sets is something that most people in our industry don't know about or don't understand. Some people are doing. It's an emerging technology, a future technology. In fact, it's related directly to our guest we're going to bring on in a few moments from Legrand, because you cannot build an XR set without a company like Legrand, because you got to have some way to set up these LEDs. So as an example, if you've watched it, and you may have heard me talk about this, I've written a couple articles about it, as I know Steph has too. If you go to ravepubs.com and search Star Wars, you'll find an article I wrote about the Mandalorian set. And the Mandalorian set used a 240-degree LED screen, LED floor, LED ceiling. You can't get those things to stand up without some mounts, and Chief, owned by Legrand, makes that kind of stuff for XR sets. And in fact, the show was almost entirely, over 90% of the content for both seasons was shot with an LED set, a virtual set.
So
cool. The president of Warner Media, Steph, Jason Clark, came and spoke at UNC here a couple of weeks ago. And he said that the brand new Game of Thrones series, the entire thing is being shot in an XR set, and that about 80% of their shows are flipping to XR sets by the fall. That's how quickly they're moving to XR sets. He says all of a sudden our sound stages are shrinking in size. We can shoot 3 shows in one sound stage, where we would normally be able to only shoot 1 show in one sound stage. So everything is changing quickly. That's a great example of emerging technology being addressed by Launch Code. So even the sponsors and the advertisers, we will not let a regular sponsor or advertiser into launch code. It will only be companies that are building products for future forward technologies. But eventually XR will be a thing that everyone does, and it'll be part of rAVe. So it's all, I love that separation that you gave. That's a good example, Steph.
Yeah. So a lot of these audiences are going to cross over, but just understand that you're getting different things out of each publication. So,
so subscribe.
Yeah.
Go to launch.com and subscribe. If you're not a launch member, by the way, launch code you can't get unless you're a launch member. So go to launch.com, set up a membership, and then you can get launch code. We just dropped a link into everywhere you're watching this, so you want to sign up for it, you can.
Very cool. So I also want to talk about Lee Distad. He wrote an article, and as you know, Gary, he writes primarily for the home audience, but he has just like a lot of great business advice. So he talks about the importance of incremental improvements. So he talks about in work, there are like kind of 3 things in terms of managing your time and resources: big things with big payoffs, little things with big payoffs, and little things with little payoffs. And he talks about how you should organize those so that you're actually getting work done throughout the day. And that's something that I think we can all relate to, whether we're a dealer, an integrator, or whether we're in AV marketing, or if we're like you and me and we work for a publication. So I think that it's just great advice that everyone can kind of take, especially as we're living in these unprecedented times and we're trying
unprecedented times.
Yeah.
It is unprecedented times.
It's like, I really do feel like I'm seeing how many buzzwords I can just like throw in throughout launch
Okay,
week.
that's a challenge. Okay, I got a challenge for you, Steph.
Okay.
You need to write an article about the buzzwords that only came from the pandemic.
Okay.
So words, like a word, the whole article has to be either emojis or words from the pandemic, and write an article.
That'd be great. It'll just be like, here's your pandemic buzzword glossary.
Yeah, and you could use the emoji with the mask, and the emoji with throwing up, the emoji with the headache, the emoji with the temperature. Like, you could do some really cool things with
Beautiful. I love it. Yeah, I'd love to write that.
All right, so let's bring our guest on. Anne Walt, I'm not pronouncing that right, I'm sure, from LeGrand is going to pop on. Anne, how are you doing? Are you ready to join us, Anne? Yes.
If my internet will comply, yes.
That happens to all of us.
That is the name of the game.
There we go.
Unprecedented times.
Is it Ewald?
Ewald.
Okay,
yes.
Ewald. Okay, Anne, first off, thanks for joining us. Listen, you've got a new tiled or fairly new tiled T small I LED, right? DV LED video wall solution. Talk about that for just a moment.
Absolutely. So we've had the tiled direct view LED mounting system on the market for several years now. But as our display partners keep innovating and keep coming out with new displays, we're also constantly innovating on the mounting solutions. And so iStyle is just our latest style of direct view LED mounting system. And it's right now specific to the Unilumin U-Slim series and the Samsung IER series. However, we are innovating throughout the year, and it will be available for more displays going forward.
We got a video showing this system. It's only about a minute. So take a look at this video so that you understand where this product fits in compared to the rest of the other mounting products that Chief makes. So when you're mounting LEDs, this is a whole different ball game than back in the days when we were just mounting LCDs. Now, granted, mounting LCDs wasn't the easiest thing, but with LEDs, if one side of the wall is off by even 3 millimeters, the other side of the wall is going to be off by a whole lot more than 3 millimeters. So this is a critical infrastructure piece, isn't it?
Yes. So we have fine-tuned all of those adjustments. As you saw in the video, the XYZ adjustments allow you to combat those inconsistencies in the wall or whatever surface it might be that you're installing on, so that you can have a perfectly flat, a perfectly planar LED wall.
And that's important, because no matter how awesome the architect is, no matter how awesome the contractor was, there's always a bump in the wall. There's always a little thing that sticks out. There's always a little piece. And so aligning these things is critical, because it completely changes not just the landscape of the display, but also changes the colorimetry of the display, doesn't it?
Absolutely, yes. And we've been listening to installers for years and integrators for years about what they have to combat out there when they're installing. And so we've incorporated all of that into our designs, and we continue incorporating that into our DirectView LED mounts.
Well, this is a great line. And we all know that the future of a lot of display applications is going to be LED. And of course, Chief has been, a core component of mounting tons of stuff for many, many years in both homes and in the corporation and in all sorts of transportation venues and entertainment venues. This is just like, as you said, an expansion of the tiled LED line. But where do you see kind of like you have kind of a unique view, because you're building the infrastructure piece for the LED market, you see that sales increase. You see that difference comparing LED sales now comparing to 3 years ago. Where do you see us heading? Like, how quickly are we going to see this transition to primarily LED, you think?
Everything that we're hearing in the industry is that it's going to ramp up very quickly, that DirectView LED is going to take off in the next few years. As you've referenced earlier in the broadcast, it's coming into the entertainment industry, esports. It's really limitless. And the really nice thing about our mounts is that you're not limited to just square or rectangular installations. If you want to do something really creative with the shapes and the designs, that is an option with our mounts. And even with the new iStyle mounts, you can start wrapping around corners and really creating an immersive experience with LED.
Yeah, so if you head over to the Legrand website, you can do a search. You can find TILED there. We're going to drop a link. Actually, we did drop a link into the site directly, so you can see all the Legrand options there. But they, as you said, in fact, I'm looking at the site now. You have an option for the Samsung IFH series, the Abson, the Philips series, the Layard, the Unilumin,
the Barco XT series,
Barco XT planar. So you have all the different, and what happens, and by the way, the reason why you have to have these different versions is we don't have necessarily like Visa mounting system like we have. We don't have a standard whole pattern for mounting. So every manufacturer kind of does their own thing. But what's cool is that you can spec one system from Chief and make sure you handle any application. And that's a big deal now with supply chain issues, and because you might spec one brand when you're designing it and realize you have to use another brand because it's just not available.
Absolutely. Flexibility is key in all things. You talked about pandemic buzzwords. Pivot has been used so much in our offices or home offices over the past year. So Chief is just here to help you pivot with whatever it is you need on the mounting side.
And by the way, if you want to put an LED in your house, Steph, Chief can help you.
That's true. You know that I'm always looking to add a little more to my tiny apartment.
that Samsung frame just isn't big enough now.
It's just not big enough these days. I would actually like for an entire wall of my studio to just be an LED screen.
There you go. And thank you very much for joining us today. We appreciate it. And we also appreciate the fact that you're a sponsor of rAVe TV and have been for 49 episodes or whatever
Yep.
number we're on, 47, whatever we're on now, episodes. We really appreciate your sponsorship along with Shure. So thank you very much.
Great. Thank you. I appreciate your time as well.
And thanks for joining us live. And on to some other stories. D10 actually has they're actually shipping their panel now. Remember, D10 Mate is specifically for Zoom rooms.
Yes.
You can modify it and make it work in other rooms, but they're now shipping this system. And they, this is, we're all going back into offices, Steph. We're going to be going back into the Zoom room, Teams room application, aren't we?
I always think it's so interesting when that there's a whole touch tablet that's just for like Zoom room meeting experiences.
It's that big. I mean, the market has grown that much. I mean, let's be honest.
Like we need that, like instead of just like an app that you can download for another tablet, it's like, no, we actually need an entire tablet like dedicated just for this, which, makes the meeting experience probably very easy if it's a tablet that is made for that. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I just think it's like a very interesting sign of the times, which is why I included that article this time.
Hey, did you hear, by the way, our next article was written by Mark Coxon. Did you see the news?
Which news?
He's working for a new company.
No, wait. Who's he working for now?
AVI SPL.
That's so
the XTG
exciting.
Group, the Experiences Group.
Oh, that is very exciting. That sounds like it'll be a really good fit for all involved. That's
I think I heard that. I maybe it's not supposed to be public yet, but it is now.
Oh yeah, maybe you should have asked him before you told our entire audience that. But
I think it's public. But anyway, talk about that article. Talk about his article, Desire Paths, Hidden Opportunities for Improvement. That's on our website right now, ravepubs.com.
So I talked about this yesterday, and the reason why I'm including it in Rave TV today is because I brought it up. So Desire Path, you can see right here. It's a pathway where, it's engineered for people to walk one way, but people will automatically find a better path or kind of form it for their own selves. So I thought it was interesting that he talks about their desire paths in technology too. And if you are putting technology in a conference room or in a classroom or something, and you're finding that end users are kind of not doing it the way that you made it to be done, is that your fault or is it theirs? And he kind of talks about it might be a bad design if they're finding a better and easier way for themselves to use this. So
yeah, people find a way to make things work. I mean, I'm very frustrated. We have a classroom here at UNC. I'm very frustrated with it because they have made it where you cannot use a Mac in this classroom. You have to use a PC. So I have to come in and jury rig the thing to get it to understand that I'm using a Mac computer. So I'm having to double join Zoom to actually Zoom my class in. And that's a pain to double join inside of a class every single time you do a class. And I filled out all the forms, but the IT department's like, well, you're the only professor using a Mac in this classroom. So we don't know what we want to put a Mac mini in there just for you. But yeah, I'm double joining Zoom. That's my only option at this point.
That's tough. But, hey, you are forming a desire path, and maybe the in-house integrators at the university should maybe take some notes down and figure out why you're not using it the way they wanted it to be used.
That's right. And by the way, we sound so good because of our sponsor, Shure.
Yes.
They're our other sponsor of Rave TV, and they have a message just for you.
Sweet spot, I'm feeling good. The sun is shining, I knew it would. The world's a playground, I'm in the clouds. Let me show you what it's all about. Check it out. I'm gonna light it up, yeah, I'm gonna light it up. Check it out. I'm gonna light it up, yeah, I'm gonna light it up. Just check it out. I'm gonna light it up, yeah, I'm gonna light it up. Let me show you what it's all about. Check it out. It's what I do. The party's starting. It's going down. Let me show you what it's all about. Check it out. I'm gonna light it up, yeah. I'm gonna light it up. Check it out. I'm gonna light it up, yeah. I'm gonna light it up. Just check it out. I'm gonna light it up, yeah. I'm gonna light it up. Let me show you what it's all about. Check it out. I'm gonna light it up, yeah. I'm gonna light it up. Check it out. I'm gonna light it up, yeah. I'm gonna light it up. Just check it out. I'm gonna light it up, yeah. I'm gonna light it up. Let me show you what it's all about. Check it out.
I love that video. They did a good job with that. I want to show you an application product that I really think is kind of cool. You talk about a niche, Steph. This company introduced we have it on our website right now, ravepubs.com. Hopefully it'll pop up there. And it's called Elevate. I love the name too, by the way. It's for elevators. It's to build experiences in elevators. That's literally what it's for. It's like you want to take your boring elevator and turn it into an experience. This exists at the W Hotel in Times Square in New York City as an example, but it's an all-in-one packaged thing that you can turn an elevator into an experience and make it a little bit more, for kind of younger, hipper environments and companies that are a little bit more creative.
Right.
This company based in Europe has a product that's sort of a turnkey product that you can sell as an integrator. I love it.
Well, it's also probably like if you can come up with a creative advertising concept, this could be a really good advertising.
Oh yeah.
And
I mean, I think that's basically a digital signage in a box for an elevator.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. So I'm excited to see more of those pop up and around. Yeah. So Gary, tell me a little bit about what else we have going on today, because we're coming to an end with rAVe TV, but we have some other exciting things that everyone should stick around for and catch the rest of the day. So let's talk about that for a sec.
Well, I have an unscripted interview with Dave Labuscas at 12:45. You're going to want to join me for that. Literally, Dave and I haven't talked. He's just going to come on and answer questions. We're going to talk. I'm going to ask him what's his view of how the industry's going. I'm sure he's excited about Infocom. It's going to be a big show this year. I think we're finally going to have these back in a big way. And then I've been asked to join a panel, a digital signage panel being led by Megan on how technically it's called How Digital Signage Creates Experiences That Connect. I'm excited to be on it. I'm kind of joining it as a participant because of my role at UNC, but also in working with clients on designing digital experiences. That's going to be a great panel. But do we have anything else? Is that what we're ending the day with, Steph, or is that it?
So then for the next thing, we are, as we're ending rAVe TV, our next thing, Megan has a really great interview with George Preston of Spinetics, and that's going to be really cool. So as soon as we get out of here, we are going to intro that for you and show you that. So make sure to stick around. So stick around for the rest of the day. And I think that's
I'll see you right after this interview with Dave Labuscas. We'll be live. We will not be pre-recorded. We'll be live. So check this video out. Thanks for joining us for rAVe TV.
Yeah, thank you so much. We will see you next Wednesday at noon, and we are giving it to Megan now. Bye.
It's the weekly show about Pro AV with the hottest news in the AV industry. It's rAVe TV. Give it up for Steph and Gary. Steph and Gary.